I work at NIOSH, the US NIOSH. Most of my career has been on hearing loss prevention and noise research. Just last year, I became the coordinator for the manufacturing sector council at NIOSH, and I also am at the editorial board of the Cochrane. But most of my research and my publications are in noise, and I still am involved with that kind of research. In this group, for this presentation, I got together with my colleagues who are involved in many of the examples I'm going to describe. And also we got the help from Garrick Burnett, who's a health communicator. As you see, I put an extra disclaimer that even though my title is a pun on the Star Trek line, there are many high-profile scientists who are very active, making very active use of social media. As, for instance, the CDC director, Tom Frieden, who has his own personal Twitter account and makes full use of the media. So we all talked today about the traditional communication, particularly of public health agencies. We had limited media options. And usually, of course, this is a generalization, but we have a slow, multi-level review process to create and to share messages. We have several layers of reviews and scrutiny to decide on the message we are disseminating. On the other hand, most of us enjoy respect and trust of the community. Now, the traditional communication will continue to exist in some way or another, but nowadays we have new channels. It's very rich, it's instant, and we have powerful networking capabilities. But the audiences have changed quite a bit. Now they are demanding transparency, authenticity, responsiveness, accountability, and engagement. And that's one thing I learned from my colleagues who are health communicators, that engagement is what... Engage. That's one of the things we should try to do. Now, how do we need to move, or at least add, these new methodologies in our work? We are learning quickly that social media channels are effective platforms for public health communication, and the health communicators are leaders in creating messages and reaching stakeholders. And we got some excellent experts here sharing their information with us today. I want to highlight these two examples, very recent, of the use of public data. Yelp is a very popular review site for restaurants, and recently they partnered with public health officials, so in their reviews of restaurants, they will start listing the results of inspections on the cleanliness of restaurants. So they are gathering the public data and making it fully accessible. And this, in small experiments, has changed, and in LA that started doing that as a pilot, the quality of the cleanliness of restaurants got better after this became public. And also recently in July, OSHA started an app competition for people to develop apps to make their data on inspections also easily available. So if you're going to buy an X car, you can see, well, how is this X company building cars? Are they safe? Or do they get fines, and for what? These are huge. These are responding to demands of public to more data. So how are we getting here? Now when I say we, I'm going to talk about the experience of the US NIOSH. We have dedicated media managers. And I won't say how many, not to depress Severine, who has 2.5 people, but we have a good group of media managers and some involved scientists. NIOSH was an early user of the media channels. We were the first of the CDC institutes to start a NIOSH science blog. We have 2 profiles on Facebook, several Twitter accounts, a YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Flickr. Now, earlier efforts have shown us that scientists should be part of the process. CDC was our parent agency. In 2005, they removed, NIOSH used to be able to answer 1-800 phone calls. They took that information from NIOSH and they started fielding emails and phone numbers with template information, and often they missed the mark. I included some examples that I'm not going to go here, but I believe you will receive the file of the presentation to see how these templates usually were not very effective in answering the questions received. So when NIOSH started doing all that in the in 2007, 2008, they gave the opportunities. They told all the scientists, now we're going to do these things. And I also like Severin's title. I was one of the skeptic ones, say why we're going to do Facebook. We might be knowledgeable, we might be even nice, but we are not cool. I didn't think we had anything to do there. But now I completely changed my mind. So we were encouraged to explore this less traditional media and try to reach audiences in new, faster ways. But on the other hand, there were several barriers. It's a departure from the traditional procedures that were used. And as I mentioned earlier, we at NIOSH go under several layers of review. Also, we lack autonomy. Before we make a statement, we have to clear all these levels. There are technology changes, many challenges. Many people, my generation, are not used to tweeting and doing those things. And also, we are getting little scholarly recognition. So even though we were told there is this opportunity and you should do this thing, there are all these other things making us unable to fully join. But so I'll tell you how I changed my mind. So as I told you, I work in the hearing loss prevention group. On Monday, we were talking to some friends about the soccer cup, and everybody complaining about the vuvuzelas. And we were aware of studies showing both the noise levels and hearing damage following soccer games. So people were looking for topics to write at the blogs. Let's write a blog. We had this idea on Monday, and on Thursday, the blog was up. That gave us kind of a thrill because it takes years to put a peer-reviewed publication out. So this is good. And we were getting engagement. We were getting comments, and we are engaging with people making the comments. And we are getting numbers quickly, too. So these are the response we got to our science blog and to the NIOSH topic page. So, 3,000 views doesn't seem much for a week, but the indication is that the blog doubled the traffic to our topic page. So I thought, okay, this worked. So we wrote a series of blogs on noise and hearing loss. Here are some examples. We talked about NASCAR, music exposure, fit testing of hearing protectors, and then we got an award from a professional organization for our media efforts. So one aspect of the barriers that we initially had to deal with, we start saying, no, people do recognize this as a value. And then the new thing was Twitter. Again, I don't tweet personally, but we decided to try it. It's still on the high of the blogs. As I said, NIOSH nowadays has 14 Twitter accounts, but we are the exception. The noise, when we have 3 Twitter accounts that deal with noise and hearing loss, but the scientists are the one managing. And the way we did it, we sought and received support from the communication experts. So we asked someone to come and meet with us and teach us how to tweet. Actually, that's another new development. We asked our summer students, can you teach me? What does this mean? Hashtag, how do I use this? So we got our summer students and asked them to teach us and asked them to monitor what was going on and and suggest tweets. Of course, they were not authorized to create tweets because they were new to the institution, but they did contribute. And we start coordinating our tweets across our channels of peer-reviewed publications, blogs, and videos. And then another sport-related effect, we decided to try the Super Bowl. There's one thing we learned from the communication experts. They have, the tweeters at NIOSH have a bi-monthly phone call, and they said, well, one way to do it is to see what's trending. What are people talking about on Twitter? now I'm going to talk about big data from what I learned today. So we looked at the Super Bowl was trending, and we had this idea, why don't we tweet about the Super Bowl, raising awareness of NIOSH, of noise risks, and available tools, suggesting for people to download noise level measurement apps and to send it to us in an attempt to engage with the audience. So we blogged and tweeted about noise levels and other sports, and we had blogged before about sports events, and some people got very upset. So we try not to, or music, we don't want people to think we don't want them to listen to music or go to a game. We just want them to know what to do to prevent any health effect. So we try to be fun in our tweets. We encourage followers to measure noise with their smartphone apps and tweet during the game. And we provided equipment to one volunteer who would do the sound level measurements with an equipment that was calibrated and correct, and then to compare. So we started this campaign of several tweets before the game, talking about the family, talking about people who work in the stadium, what they could do. And it was the first time that people started retweeting what we were doing. You see all these people who passed their information. So we are getting a good response. One example Twitter, do you have a noise level measurement app? Take measurements and tweet us and stuff. And again, we are getting our tweets retweeted by different people. And another example is, do you like Super Bowl and science? Are you going to the game? Measure noise levels. And then we started getting questions and comments. I love this experiment. How can I help? And so forth. So, we started a dialogue. That was the first. And then again, one input that we received, this is not bad. Do you check the reliability by comparing with a mirror? And said, no, we haven't checked, but that's a good idea. And then during the game, once the game started, this is the photo, that we tweeted this photo of a measurement done with a sound level measure app. And we kept doing. We have even a little video that we tweeted of the measurement being made during a touchdown. We kept tweeting after the game, and we even posted the results. This graph was posted on Twitter, the noise levels and what happened during the game. And then we wrote a blog about it. And NIOSH, because we had some negative comments during NASCAR, decided not to post our blog. But somebody else did. This group from England who does noise measurement, they wrote a blog mentioning our work and saying that we received the same results as they did. And so we got to crowdsourcing almost by chance, just because something went wrong. Somebody else wrote the blog, and we were extremely happy with that. And again, even if the number of people who retweeted does not seem too high, but nowadays you have different tools, and Twitch Reach is just one example to measure impressions and how many people read. So when we use this hashtag, this keyword noise level, it reached 155,000 people, 300,000 impressions, and here we have a few examples of what people wrote about our tweets. So in the final score, the Giants 21, Patriots 17, and NIOSH measured 129 dB. We did not embarrass ourselves too badly with this experiment. We learned a lot. We did engage our audience. And then we started the smartphone app evaluation from that two-way exchange with the public, where we measure the sound level meter apps in comparison with the official sound level meter. And these are the results. These results are about to come out at JASA letters. So we have several Super Bowl victories. We did overcome those barriers that initially stopped us from engaging. We established a pattern for future successes. But one thing that made that possible is that we had easy access to communication expert and guidance. In the meantime, since we started doing this, the CDC now has online guides with suggesting approaches to use the social media. These guides are available online for free. We also realized we could be responsive to the audience, and it was very clear that the roles and contributions were well defined. And I mentioned in the traditional media at NIOSH, we go to tremendous scrutiny to put a message out and several levels of review. That is time consuming. With the social media, we scientists, we sought vetting. If we're going to write something that we think could be misinterpreted, we ask a colleague next door, what do you think of this wording? How should I word it? So we sought vetting for our direct peers. So that allows you to be flexible and quick. And we did receive recognition for the effort. And speaking of recognition, in Nature this year, there was a discussion paper talking about how the National Science Foundation is changing how they value research products. The contributions like making database public, Pinterest, blogs, and Delicious, and I don't even know what Delicious is, are going to be considered in value when they look at your scholarly contributions as scientists. However, this story I told you, happy endings, it looked very good. It's an example of one exercise that we are doing, but we are, the NOISE group, we are the exception at NIOSH. That's not how NIOSH is doing. Most of the health communication is being done by health communicators. Scientists at NIOSH, my colleagues think that the new media is for the communication experts. The health communication experts at NIOSH think that the new media is for communication experts. And so I don't think this is a good model. I think our exercise, and these are the take-home messages from my presentation, given the magnitude of the task, all these messages that we have to share, scientists must be a part of the process. And also to try to keep the reputation and trust from the public that we have. The consistent engagement and immediate feedback are essential to this social media model. So we need the subject matter experts, familiar with the institution's policies, to use all these tools available and communicate their science directly to the public and in a timely manner. Otherwise, we will have health communication people talking to health communication people. That's not the idea. But for that to happen, the organizations need to encourage and support, not only encourage, go do it, but help people to do it, this new media use among scientists, and empower them to participate in online communities. This involves some trust that they are free to go and tweet. Of course, not as an individual. As an individual, anybody can tweet whatever they want, but as an organization, like I don't tweet as Thaïs Morata, I tweet from Safe and Sound or from NIOSH Noise. And engage the public in an authentic and meaningful way. I learned a lot from Twitter. The public does not want the 150-page report with all the statistics. They want 140 characters. Just tell me what I need to know, the bottom line. And then, of course, you have a link to where the science is, so those that really want to know the details go and find it. So the future scientists may be ready to use the new media tools, the young people who are growing up with all these things. But we have to be careful, and Sture mentioned this morning, we are getting the new people and telling this is how it works at our institution. I don't think that's a good way to go, because they are used to these new means, so we have, I think, to learn from them and teach them about the expertise or about the institutional profile, but make use and learn from them for what's going on. Okay, so the new generation is bringing this knowledge and they feel comfortable with all these tools. But if we wait for them to do it, in the meantime, we might be perceived as obsolete. I think it's very important for us to remain visible, to become, because of accountability to the public. There is a group called the Union of Concerned Scientists. It's an independent organization in the United States. And they published a report also this year, grading, as a report card, grading government agencies for the scientists' freedom to speak and tweet. This is a resource I also recommend because they have a very good analysis of what does it mean, how you can use these tools, and what's your responsibility to the public. And they say that federal scientists play an important role in fulfilling the mandate of giving the public, making their critical expertise available to decision makers and to the people. And so they graded several of these agencies. Actually, the CDC did pretty good, although it's not fair because this is a public health, so of course we put a lot of effort in communicating with the public. Some other agencies have different mandates, so they are not as compromised into communicating with the public. But they analyze policies and approaches how to use media to give important information to the public. To my friends who resist social media, I tell them, oh, no, it's not playing. Resistance is futile. I was skeptic. I didn't think it was the way to go, and I completely changed my mind. I think it is happening out there. I think it's important for us to use these new opportunities. And I think is what the public has grown to expect from us. So I think it's important for us to explore these strange new channels, seek partnerships like we're doing here today, and communicate like we haven't communicated before. Thank you.